As the official healthcare provider of Minnesota United, Allina Health is dedicated to delivering pro-level care for our Loons. But our partnership goes much deeper than what happens on the field. From our shared support of youth-focused nonprofits like Roots for the Home Team to empowering adaptive athletes through the MNUFC Power Soccer Team, Allina Health and Minnesota United are committed to making our communities all together better. Learn more at allinahealth.org/loons. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sound of the Loons presented by Allina Health. And today I get to be joined by the one, the only brand new designated player striker for Minnesota United, Kelvin Yeboah. Thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
First off, have they asked you to do a loon call or anything yet? But this is called Sound of the Loons. Have they forced you into like a loon call? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, they tried the first time I was here.
That's funny. I was actually kind of kidding, but they actually did, huh?
Yeah, they tried it, but let's say I found a way to escape that.
That's probably a good choice. I was at Allianz Field one time earlier this year for one of the Minnesota United games, and they actually did a loon call competition with people like from the public on the field. I thought it was a real loon. I didn't realize it was actually people doing it. So there actually is some talent involved with that.
Oh,
so
wow.
maybe next time.
Yeah, get on the next one.
Hey, I wanted to just, get your take on Minnesota so far. I know you're new. I don't even know exactly what day you arrived because obviously the transfer window was open. It was fast and furious getting players in. You never know with the visas and the travel and all that sort of stuff. So how long have you actually been in the state of Minnesota? And what's your first impression?
Yeah, I think now is about 14, 15 days. So let's say 2 weeks. No, the place is super nice. I visited many places like St. Louis, Maple Grove, Plymouth, and downtown, of course. It's nice. It's really nice. They just told me some tough stories, horror stories about the winter. But, but apart from that, it's all good. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, after MLS Cup, when you're done playing in that, when you guys get to the final in December, and then you can jet out of here off to some holidays somewhere warm for a little bit, and then you escape until January or February when preseason starts again. Because I agree with whoever told you that. Minnesota's winters, not great. I've grew up my whole life here. But we moved away to warmer weather, and I swore we'd never move back. And here we are. We're back here, and I still don't like winter. So you'll have to get some nice warm clothes and some big furry boots, and you'll be and four-wheel drive on your car, and you'll be all set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what about Minneapolis? I don't know if you've gotten hooked up with a place to live. I know Angie Blaker is like a rock star at hooking everybody up with everything they need, top to bottom and left and right, making sure you guys get sorted. But were you scoping out the different cities to kind of see where you wanted to land? Have you always lived in an apartment? Have you lived in a home? I mean, what's with all the different places that you've been, sort of, how does this stack up and what are you looking for?
Yeah, I'm looking for a house at the moment. I visited also a lot of apartments, but I think I'm gonna go with a house because here there's a lot of space. I love my green and you know stay a little bit more cozy at home, especially when the winter comes.
Yeah,
But
that's a
yeah,
good choice.
yeah,
And then I wanted to ask you when you were sort of scoping out Minnesota and Major League Soccer as an option, as a choice for you. I mean, you're only 24 years old, but you're already well traveled in the places you've gotten to play and what you've gotten to see. Did you visit Minnesota before you came here? Did you just have conversations with coaches and staff? I mean, how did that come about? I mean, we'll get to sort of the question of why Minnesota and why Major League Soccer, but how did that come about to even really have this on your radar?
Yeah, I think it started a year ago because I already had some interest a year ago. So I came to know more about the league. Let's say I already always knew MLS, but a year ago is when I really was, let's say, the option to go there. And I thought about it. And this year is where I was like looking at the football after last year. I was really following a bit. So then when I had the option, I thought, okay, the project seems good. Khaled, the coach, and the whole project I liked. So then I said, okay, this really might be a step where can take me to the other step, because life is all about progress and bettering yourself in any aspects of it. So I thought this experience will help me a lot in terms of life-wise and in terms of also career-wise. That's why it came about this decision.
So when you talk about, I'm assuming first of all, something different, unusual, in some place you've never been doesn't scare you at all because you have been so many different places, whether you were signed with the club or whether you were on loan somewhere. So when you met with Khaled, did you have any prior communication with him? Did you know him? I mean, because it feels like a lot of the players that he's brought in and that he's wanted to sign, he's either followed for a very long time, knows a lot about, knows someone who knows them because he's very big on culture and character as an individual and a player, not just the soccer football aspect of it. So what was your connection with him and was there any prior to this?
Yeah, that's totally correct. Me personally, I didn't knew him before speaking to him, but he knew me through sporting director, and he followed me since I think, in Sturm Graz, so which was one of my first teams. So he's been following a lot. So yeah, that's how he came about.
So when you talk about the path that you've taken and the travels that you've had, what do you think you've learned about yourself along the way in each different? And again, you're only 24, but I feel like you've had so many incredible experiences. What do you think you've learned about yourself along the way, and then sort of what's your expectation for Minnesota United?
I think what I learned about myself the most is understanding that each aspect of your life, let's say family, your mental health, your physical health, your football, all this kind of stuff play together for you to be able to perform on Saturdays. So I try to, let's say, take care of all of this aspect, relationship wise, with my family, with my girlfriend, with my brothers and sisters. All these kind of things make you feel good to be able to perform and, yeah, be at your best. I mean,
Anybody coming over with you? I mean, I feel like you just mentioned your girlfriend or your family. Like, what's the plan there? Because I feel like that's such a big adjustment and such a huge
yeah,
help. I was just talking. I know we're going to talk to Anthony Markanich in a second here, and it's not quite the same move you're doing, but he said his girlfriend and he has a couple dogs are, heading to Minnesota to kind of help him adjust here. What's your plan for family visits and whatnot?
yeah. My girlfriend, she's here with me, which is a big support to have. My brother's also maybe planning to come. My little brother plays for Juventus, so he's also playing. So he also wanted to come, but he's playing there. So
He's kind of busy.
yeah, he's kind of busy. But my big brother, McAnthony, Richmond, and my sister too, Matilda, they are all a big support and they're all planning to come to visit. My parents been here on the first move, so they loved Minnesota. They loved the place. So they were really happy to be here.
I tell everybody there's not many better places to fly into in the middle of summer than Minnesota because of the green and the lakes, which you flew in when you came here, but I'm not sure you haven't been on a road trip yet. This will be your first road trip this weekend against San
Yes.
Jose. So
Yeah.
flying in and out of the Twin Cities, and then you'll get, I don't know, How much of the rest of the country have you seen? Have you been to the United States before? I guess that should have been a question. So you'll be exploring all sorts of different places.
Yes, 100%. No, haven't been anywhere. Minnesota is my first American state to be in, let's say that.
Okay, awesome. Well, that's good to know. What were your first impressions of the facilities of Allianz Field, which you got to experience? I know 2 goals for you, not a win for the team, but what was your first impression of playing in front of the fans here and that whole experience just last weekend?
Amazing. Amazing. It was a lot of excitement, enthusiasm. The game in the beginning was, you know, once the game starts, you always need, let's say, that 30, 10 seconds to be like, okay, it's game time. But even a warm up, everything felt so good. And the fans, they were really amazing. So, yeah. And the audience, I also like very much the infrastructure of it. As you said, mentioned before, it's really cool. The loans, the importance of detail in the
Mhm.
stadium, which is I find really, really, really cool. And our infrastructure here is also very good. The pitch is amazing, like the grass. I don't know how they do it with the winters, but it's really like spot on. So it's the infrastructure is really amazing.
Awesome. I love that. I haven't heard anybody say anything different when they come to Allianz Field, whether they play for Minnesota United or even the visiting clubs. They usually have a pretty good
Yeah.
impression of that stadium. And you've been in a lot of pretty amazing stadiums, I'm sure. So I want to ask you about your style of play. I've read a lot about you. I've listened to the other interviews that you've done. I've seen some of the footage of you playing. We got to see you live and in person on Saturday. Um, how would you describe your style of play to anybody that's watching or viewing or listening or should come and watch Minnesota United and Kelvin Yeboah specifically? How would you describe how you play?
I think I would describe how I play like the last goal I scored. Very dynamic, trying to attack, very energetic. And for me, I think my best quality, I think, is always the mentality, the willing to win and the not giving up, the resilience and perseverance. Because I think in a game is what you need the most, apart from your individual qualities.
So when you say that mentality and sort of never giving up, do you view every situation like do you literally take it upon yourself to view almost every moment as a 1v1 battle with whatever center back you're going against? Like you see this guy across from you and you're just kind of like, this is the guy I need to find a way to beat today? Or is it more just the overall like I'm not gonna let anyone stop me?
Yeah, for me, it's more like no matter what happens, I'm going to find a way to influence the game, whether it's scoring or helping my teammate to score, or I don't know, creating an action, creating space for somebody else to be have the opportunity to do something. Because I think at the end of the day is the most important thing is to be able to influence and bring your contribution to the team.
No hesitation for you to grab the ball and take that penalty, even though you're the one that got fouled. How good did that feel, though? I mean, it was in front of the Wonder Wall, which is what we call the supporter section at Allianz Field. And for you, in front of this home crowd, your new home crowd, how did that feel to just bury that? And was there any sort of nervous excitement, energy, or you just knew that this you were going to bury it?
Yeah, I mean, when you go to take a penalty, you have to be stone cold. So nothing, not much was going through my mind, just breathing and looking at the goalkeeper. So as soon as I saw that he moved to the right, I said, okay, just put it on the other side. So afterwards, yes, afterwards, then the emotions come in. But to be honest, I don't think you realize any of it until you go home and sit down and be like, okay, this is how the game went.
And then I wanted to ask you about the second goal because I've read a lot of stuff about your uncle Tony as well, and he was sort of a prolific goal scorer, always known for sort of the cleverness of his finishes, a little cheeky in how he would do things. Did you get any feedback from him after that one, after that goal you scored? Did he send you a nice little text message or a WhatsApp or something, or what did he say?
Yeah, we actually talked the days after. I think it was like 2 or 3 days ago. and he was congratulating me for the goal. He said we'll come to see one of the games because he's really excited to come to see MLS because in the beginning he was the one that actually advised me to come to MLS and to Minnesota. So yeah, he congratulated me. He told me it was a good goal. He's actually left-footed, so he
Okay.
expected for me to score that. But I'm actually right-footed, so but yeah, no, it was I speak to him and I try to ask him a lot of questions about his time. How did he prepare himself for a game? How did he study the game? Because there is a lot of studying behind the scenes. And yeah, what was his practice and how he approached the game? And he's always so cool about it. He's like very calm and very relaxed, and he just tell me, just go there and do your best. And I
Nice.
try to follow
That's
his footsteps. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good feedback. I also wanted to ask you because I believe if I'm correct, he's a Ghanaian national team like legend. And I believe you have not chosen between Italy and Ghana. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, I
From a
played.
national team perspective, I feel like you've played youth national teams.
Yes, I played for
So
both.
so how is that, but you haven't been capped for the senior team for either yet? Or am I wrong on
No,
that?
no, it's right. I played for
Okay.
both. I played for under 18s when I was in Ghana, but then I
Mm-hmm.
got injured, so I didn't went with the team. And I played for the under 21s in Italy. Just to have both experience because of my background is always so like I was born in Ghana, but I moved to Italy when I was 3. So my culture wise, I would say is more Italian, but I'm also born in Ghana and I have also culture from Ghana. So it's always between the two. But I think like I'm quite when it comes to this type of decision, I'll be more instinctive and try to go with my heart and then choose whatever I feel is right at the moment.
I was just going to ask you that because that's a certain maybe pressure or stress that others may never experience, where you have that pull. Not only do you have the pull emotionally, but you have the ability to play for two different national
Yeah.
teams, which also
Yeah.
not most people get to do. So you think you'll just kind of know when that moment comes what feels right in that moment?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hopefully it's 2026. We got a World Cup coming up here in the United States. So hopefully somebody that you can play for or leading up to it or friendlies or whatever it is can be a part of it.
Yeah.
And then people in the United States can come and watch you play
Yeah. That'd be
for that
amazing.
team. So and lastly, I just wanted to ask you about the team. Is there anybody that you've sort of latched onto that you've connected with? I mean, that's always new too when you're coming over and you're a young player. And I know you said your girlfriend's here, but still, from a teammate perspective, anybody that you sort of have geared towards or found some advice or feedback from?
Yeah, I mean, with all of them was from let's say we have like the Spanish side, the we have many cultures in our team. So, but I think quite frankly, I think with all of them, I have some sort of connection. With Will Trapp, I have the connection that you saw also with leading to the goal. With Pookie, amazing player, amazing striker. Always trying to get something out, learn something out of him with the Spanish guys, it's always jokes and playing like two touches and all technical stuff doing together. So I connected with all of them, like in a way or the other. Sometimes no talking, but more football. That's how you connect too with Bongi, with all the players, with Sangbin. All the players have a connection.
And then lastly, just what are your goals for 2024? What do you want? I know you've signed a multi-year contract, but if you were talking to the fan base and maybe what you said to yourself when you got here or to the ownership group or the sporting director or the coach, Eric Ramsey, what's your goals for 2024 for this upcoming season? What's left of it and then heading into the next year?
Yeah, what's left of it, I think the whole goal is to really. I know I came in the middle of it, but it will be really amazing to be able to go to the playoffs. I don't hide that this is something that I think the whole team, the whole staff is working for. And that would be amazing to do because I think like we have the team for it. Now, now. I don't know before, but now we definitely have the quality for it. We saw in Seattle. We just have to adjust maybe two or three things, and we will definitely be able to do well in the playoffs. But yeah, coming in the middle is always a big tricky because the connection, as you mentioned before, is always something that to get everything, every piece, like chess, every piece on the table is never easy. But I think we can do it, and I think from the upcoming season, I think when everybody's gonna be here, because I know we have another player coming from Argentina, and maybe some other two. But having everybody here and starting a season together where you can actually in preseason build the relationships and build your team the way maybe the coach really wants to, that will give us very steps to go ahead and perform on the next season.
Awesome. I appreciate you taking the time. Enjoy your evening off and your Thursday off. I don't know if you hit the state fair yet or not. Has anybody drug you out to the state fair yet?
I actually went yesterday.
Nice. What did you think?
Was a lot. It was nice. Was really nice. It was a lot. It was a
Did
lot
you
though.
did you eat anything that you were like, wow, what is this? I can't believe this is like a thing, like, that you can only find in Minnesota, or what was your what was your impression on?
Yeah, they tempted me, but I didn't eat anything. I was trying to stay fit for Saturday because the food there is amazing, tasty, and everything. But I don't know how how it will get me on Saturday energy wise. So I was able to hold that one out.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you got to experience the great Minnesota get together in the state fair.
Yeah,
Enjoy San Jose this weekend. I appreciate you taking the time chatting with us, and
thank
we'll
you.
catch you again another time. Thanks, Kelvin. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
All right, everybody, stay tuned. Segment number 2 coming up with Anthony Markanich. Just because the Loons are away doesn't mean you have to watch the match from home. With Loons Watch Spots, presented by Coors Light, you can find a piece of that Allianz Field atmosphere at some of your favorite Twin Cities locations. Check out the full list of locations and upcoming watch parties at MNUFC.com/Loons Watch Spots. All right, everybody, welcome back to segment number 2 of Sound of the Loons, presented by Alina Health. And now we get to be joined by another fantastic newcomer in this secondary transfer window. I had to catch myself to make sure I was saying the right transfer window. Anthony Markanich, an MLS veteran legend. And first of all, I just want to say I appreciate you taking the time, because I know this is a busy stretch. I know you're trying to move, you're trying to get settled, you're trying to get sorted. You've just come over to Minnesota United from St. Louis. So I appreciate you taking the time for us this afternoon.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So I wanted to ask you right off the bat, as in segment number 1, we wrapped up. I just talked to Kelvin Yeboah and I asked him if he had been to the Minnesota State Fair. Have you been to the Minnesota State Fair yet? And if not, do you plan on going?
No, I haven't, but I was just talking to Will right before I came up here about the fair, and I told him I was gonna go tomorrow and check it out and just walk around. So
There
yeah,
you
I did.
go.
Yeah.
Good choice. Good choice. Did Will go? Did he take his kids?
I don't know if he went, but he's
Okay.
telling me all about it and stuff. Like, yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. It's quite the experience. And even my broadcast partner, Tyler, I don't know if you know Tyler Terrence, but anyways, he's a New Jersey kid. He lives in Cincinnati now. He spent time in Chicago and I think like Fort Lauderdale, but he went to the state fair last Friday when he was here for the Minnesota United game. And he was like sending me pictures, eating pronto pups and fried pickles and all this stuff. So, I mean, he was like living his best life, which I wasn't sure if that was going to be the case with him. So I highly recommend it to anybody who comes here. So I'm looking forward to the feedback from everybody
Yeah.
on the team. I know the players have appearances and stuff there sometimes too.
hmm
So you kind of get there by default at
Yeah.
times
Yeah,
too.
I'm
So
excited.
Awesome. So what's it been like? Just like talk us through this whirlwind of ending up with Minnesota United from St. Louis City. I mean, I know you're kind of a Midwest kid to begin with, so maybe the Midwest isn't shocking to you. And also coming from St. Louis City, which is like sort of Midwest. What's the transition been like for you?
I mean, it's been pretty easy. I know like a lot of the guys and the coaches were very welcoming, so it was kind of easier on me to come here. But yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to be here, and yeah, I've been up here many times, like for academy games and stuff, so I'm pretty used to Minnesota. Yeah.
Anything in particular that, or wait, actually, can you take us kind of behind the curtain on how this move transpired, how you get the news, how that goes about, and like, and sort of in your mind, how that process plays out mentally, emotionally, and then all of a sudden the wheels are in motion and you have to
Yeah.
start making decisions on getting here.
Yeah, it was I my agent reached out and told me that Minnesota was interested. So I kind of had an idea like a couple of weeks after the window opened. So it's kind of in the back of my mind the whole time. And then oh, and then we were in Leagues Cup in LA versus um who did we play?
Club America?
Yeah, Club America. We were in Club America and then
It's confusing because it wasn't
yeah,
like necessarily an LA team
yeah,
just because you were in
exactly.
LA. Yeah.
So yeah, and then we were on the flight back home, and then yeah, the sporting director and the head coach came up to me on the plane and told me the last day of the window that I was traded. So yeah, it
That's
was
crazy
crazy.
on
It
the
was a little
plane.
crazy. Yeah, I know, right? Right when we took off, they called me to the front of the plane and told me I mean, like, wish they would have told me like before so I could tell my family and stuff, Instead I would have
Right.
waited three
Then you have the
hours to be
whole rest of
landed.
that's like a
Yeah.
long plane ride to
Yeah,
like
three
have that
hours
just
just thinking, like, yeah, it was crazy.
oh man, yeah. I don't know if that was the best way to do it,
I
but
know, right?
like you
Yeah.
might as well wait till you land at
Yeah,
that
that's
point,
what I
you
said too. I
know.
said, you guys couldn't wait to grind.
Oh man, that's crazy. I know maybe they're like, oh, then he can kind of get ahead of some of it, but like you're on a plane. Are
Yeah,
you, I
right.
don't know
Can't
if
do
you guys
nothing.
fly
Yeah.
Sun Country or what, but if there's no
Yeah.
Wi-Fi and stuff,
Yeah,
then you're
exactly.
kind
I
of
don't know. I was asking like the flight attendants, is there any like Wi-Fi I could use or yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. So tell me about your career. I mean, I know you spent some time with Colorado. We just talked about you being with St. Louis City, and you're also again young. I mean, I know that Khaled, when he was looking at this transfer window, he wanted very specific players that were between the age of like 23 and 25, 26 max. So he wanted
Hmm.
these players that are sort of in this prime of their career enough where they can still where they clearly can contribute and they have the experiences, but also enough where we feel like they can really like form into what we're trying to do here. They're going to
Yeah.
understand what we're trying to do here. So tell me about your career and sort of your journey and your path and how it's taken you to this point.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I got drafted from Northern Illinois to Colorado.
DeKalb.
DeKalb, yep. DeKalb,
I went to
Illinois.
region. I had region camp in DeKalb in the dorms.
Yeah, it's a
Yes.
interesting town, but yeah. Yeah, I got drafted there, and then I was there for what, a year and a half or so, and then I got traded during this window to St. Louis during the summer. Then yeah, and then started playing a lot more games there, and then yeah, back here.
Well, and in St. Louis, right, you had multiple coaches in the sense
Yeah.
that there was a coaching change there as well. So you are accustomed to change
Hmm.
at such a young age, which is can be a plus and a minus because you're adaptable and you can, slide right in and slot right in different places and different positions. So when you look at Minnesota United and you know about them clearly, at least coming in from the league, it's not like you're coming from elsewhere. What's your impression of Minnesota United? What's your impression of Minnesota? What's your impression before you came and then even now since you've been here for a short amount of time?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean the when I first got here, the facilities are really nice. The stadium's really nice, and then the fans, the experience on game day is really cool. So it's cool to experience that last weekend. And yeah.
When if like if you were to write your own little media guide blurb on you as a player, what would you write? Like if people are going to open up an old school media guide, which they don't even like have anymore because
Mhm.
everything's digital, what would yours say about you? You're like, okay, here's Anthony Markanich. This is his age, where he's from, and this is what you can look for him as a player.
Yeah, for me as a player, I think I'm a lot of attack minded. I like to get forward. So I mean, I'm used to playing in the four back, but it's got to transition to getting used to playing in a five back. So yeah, I think I have to get used to that again. And yeah.
And on the left hand side, do you prefer as a left back? Is that where you prefer?
Yeah, I'm normally used to playing left back, but I played and when I was in Colorado, they're more like a five back, so I was used to that. And then I was used to playing a four back in St. Louis, and then yeah, I have to get used to playing a five back again.
How do you think that role, that position has changed since you were in college? I mean, you're still young, so it's not as different as like, when I played college soccer, but like the amount of running and playing both ways that is asked of outside backs, whether it's
Yeah.
in a four back or a five back, is so different. And your ability that you have to have on the ball to go forward and
Mhm.
participate in the attack, but also track back and defend one v
Yeah.
one. How much do you think that's changed, even just in your career?
Oh yeah, it's a lot more running than you think. I mean, like in college, I could do it like the whole game and another game right after. But like when I went professionally, like the pace of the game and stuff is just so much different and faster. So you kind of almost have to be smart about it sometimes instead of just bombing forward all the time and bombing back. So yeah.
Well, especially with the pace of the players that are opposite you, right? I mean, the
Mhm, exactly.
wingers
Yeah.
and the attacking players
Yeah.
nowadays. Um, I don't know. I wouldn't want to be staring at any of those guys one v one at full
Yeah,
space
right.
in open space. What about your soccer career? Why soccer? How did you get into soccer? I know your brother plays soccer
Yeah.
as well, but anybody else in your family? Can you kind of talk me through how
Uh,
you ended up in soccer?
Yeah, my both my parents never played soccer. My dad was like a wrestler and my mom was like a volleyball player. But then yeah, I have an older sister. She started playing soccer and then my brother and I would always go to the games and stuff and that's where we're like start playing, just us two just kicking the ball around. And then yeah, they got us into soccer. Like yeah. So
And you guys were probably, is it twin brother? Yes.
yeah, twin.
So inseparable, I'm assuming, for a good chunk of your life. And now, to my knowledge, she's playing for Charleston Battery.
Yeah.
And what's that like? How often do you guys talk? How often do you communicate about your careers, about what you're doing, what your daily life is like? Is that hard to be? I know you have a girlfriend that I'm not sure if she's here now or heading this direction, but is that challenging to be the girlfriend of a twin? Because I feel like you guys are probably inseparable.
Yeah, no, we're so close. Like we talk every day, and like multiple times a day. We FaceTime, we play video games together. But yeah, we're so close. We criticize each other after like each game. Just and sometimes he texts me like during halftime and stuff, just giving me pointers and stuff. So which is very helpful. And after games, he gives me pointers and what I could do better, what off the ball, on the ball stuff. So it's very very helpful to have something
And
like that.
is he a forward?
Yeah, he's a
Okay, so he's a forward and you're a defender. So when he's
yeah.
texting you, is he like, okay, this is how I would have beaten you in this moment? Like, you need to do this better next time
Yeah, no,
defensively.
yeah,
Like,
it's stuff like that, just like things to be aware of or things to, do better or things to look like when I have the ball and stuff. So yeah, but
that's nice. That's
it's
nice to
awesome.
have
Yeah.
that connection. Have they been to it? I shouldn't say have they been to any games yet, because clearly they probably have not been to a Minnesota United game yet. We've had one since you arrived,
Yeah.
and now you're going on the road. But do you expect your family to visit here?
Oh yeah, they like and when I was in St. Louis, since it was only like a 4 hour drive, they would come to almost every home game, which was nice. Well, now it's a little further, so I don't know how much they'll come now, but yeah, I'm sure they'll still be to a lot.
So what about the actual move to Minnesota? Are you settled? I think you mentioned to me yesterday that you have a wife and two, or not wife, sorry. Don't say that. Girlfriend and two dogs that are coming here and you're getting settled. Can you tell everybody what kind of dogs and sort of like where you're trying to get settled in?
Yeah. Yeah, we just found a place in Maple Grove, an apartment. So yeah, we're gonna move. My stuff comes in like September 4th, so that's probably when I'll move into. But yeah, I got a girlfriend coming and then two dogs. one of them's a German Shepherd and Golden Retriever mix, all black.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we rescued this dog. She's like a mix of everything when we were in
Yeah.
Colorado. So yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, they're
wow. Okay.
amazing. I miss them.
Big dogs.
Yeah, the Golden's really is a big one, and then the other one's like a medium one.
Oh, okay, okay. I was
Yeah.
gonna say because when you talk about apartment and then but that is the nice thing about Minnesota is like the amount of parks and lakes and
Yeah,
paths and
yeah.
outdoor spaces, even
Yeah.
when you're in an apartment.
Yeah, my girlfriend already did all the research and stuff to find parks and dog parks and stuff for them to do around here. So I think where we're living has a lot of like dog parks around it. So that was very helpful.
Yeah, there's no shortage of that. I'm sure a lot of the guys, I feel like, end up at least in apartments early on, and even with
Mhm.
sometimes with their families, which is, but the amount of places you can like step out your door and walk to something,
Yeah.
or even a lake or something like that is always is really nice about here. And I'm sure you're familiar with winter because you're from Illinois, so
Yeah.
that's not unusual to
Yeah,
you. So
right.
I don't need to tell you about that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm prepared for it. So
You still own your jacket from when you were at DeKalb, I'm sure.
yeah.
Um, so tell me about a little bit about what you expect from yourself the rest of this season. I know there's only in the regular season, what, 8, 9, 10 games
Yeah.
left. And then the postseason is right around the corner because the All-Star break does not exactly fall in the middle of the season, and the Leagues Cup definitely doesn't fall exactly in the middle of the season. So what's
Yeah.
your sort of expectation for you, for this team, for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, these last couple games, I just want to come in and help the team as much as I can, try to make the playoff push. So hopefully I can provide that and yeah, hopefully make playoffs.
And anybody in particular that you've sort of connected with since you've been here?
I've
I
been
know it
talking
hasn't
to
been that long.
yeah, I've been talking to like Will and Z and Boxy a little bit because our lockers are close to each other. So yeah, we've been chatting in the mornings and stuff. So yeah, it's been nice.
Awesome. Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate you taking the time. I know you got a lot on your plate and getting situated. Got to get to that state fair.
Yeah.
Rest up. You had a nice hard practice session today, so you won't feel bad if you're eating all sort of
Yeah,
cheese curds and
right.
whatnot tomorrow. So
Yeah.
awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for taking the time. I really
Appreciate it.
appreciate it, Anthony. Have a great rest of your day and enjoy San Jose, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to another episode of Sound of the Loons presented by Alina Health. We'll catch you next week.